Rapidly expanding defense budgets, surging military personnel, and an arsenal brimming with some of the world's deadliest weapons. This is modern-day Poland. Nestled in Europe's heart, this nation is silently forging its path to power. Their objective is clear. According to the Polish defense minister, they aim to possess the most powerful land force in Europe. But amidst this whirlwind of military muscle flexing, a question resonates. Should Europe and the world fear Poland's military buildup? Welcome to Living History. Poland's geopolitical position is emblematic of a country constantly caught in the throes of larger powers. Sandwiched between Russia and Germany, Poland has faced considerable challenges throughout its history that have had profound implications for its national security policy today. During World War II, Poland found itself betrayed by its allies, despite pacts and agreements. Britain and France, the very countries it thought would come to its aid in a crisis, didn't take substantial steps to intervene when Poland was invaded by Germany in 1939. This left an indelible mark on the national psyche, seeding an enduring sense of mistrust and skepticism towards the guarantees provided by allies. Moreover, Poland's tumultuous past also bears witness to the notorious partitions that occurred in the late 18th century. Powerful neighbors, Russia, Prussia, and Austria, partitioned Poland not once, but thrice. Each of these actions effectively wiped the Polish state off the map, stirring a deep-rooted sense of vulnerability and defenselessness. Fast forward to the 21st century, and this vulnerability is still keenly felt. Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine, a country with which Poland shares a border and a complex history, has not only reignited old fears, but also accentuated the urgent need for robust defenses. Poland, bearing the scars of its historical experience, is unwilling to take chances. Wars between Russia and Poland have been significant events throughout history. From the Russo-Polish War in 1919 to 1921 to the many earlier conflicts during the era of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, these have instilled a deep-seated apprehension towards Russia. This fear and mistrust is what drives much of Poland's contemporary defense policy, including its determined arming strategy to ensure it can stand its ground, even if left to fend for itself. Now, Poland's position has always necessitated a strong defense, but back in the 90s and early 2000s, strong was not exactly the word you'd use to describe Poland's military forces. In fact, outdated and obsolete would have been more fitting. Poland joined NATO in 1999, swapping communism for capitalism and embracing new alliances. This meant that its armed forces, which resembled a military garage sale from the Soviet era, needed a serious makeover. The goal? To meet NATO's swanky standards and interoperability requirements. But the journey was no cakewalk. Picture bureaucratic hurdles, budget constraints, corruption scandals, and a defense budget that barely scratched 1.5% of their GDP. It was a challenge to juggle all these factors while striving to upgrade their military. As a result, Poland's military modernization fell behind its NATO allies. Their air force relied on aging MiG-29 and Su-22 fighters, while their navy lacked modern submarines, frigates, and helicopters. The Army's large inventory of Soviet-designed tanks, armored vehicles, and artillery was mostly outdated and poorly maintained. Things started to turn around in the mid-2000s when Poland participated in multinational programs and launched domestic initiatives to enhance its defense industry. Deals with the US, France, and Germany led to new equipment and weapons, signaling a shift in Poland's defense paradigm. However, the changing security environment in Europe, specifically Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014 and the subsequent war in Ukraine, catapulted Poland's defense strategy into a new orbit. Poland increased its defense spending to 2% of GDP in 2015 and pledged to raise it further to 2.5% by 2030. Poland also revised its defense strategy and planning, focusing on enhancing its deterrence and defense capabilities against potential Russian aggression. Amidst all this, Poland's decision to donate some of its ex-Soviet equipment to Ukraine was a significant move. Since 2014, Poland has provided more than 200 T-72 tanks to Ukraine, along with self-propelled howitzers, Grad rocket launchers, Zu-23 4-Shilka anti-aircraft systems, S-125 Pekora surface-to-air missiles, and other Soviet-designed weaponry. For Poland, it was a win-win. They could offload outdated equipment and support Ukraine at the same time. So now, fast forward to today. As we witness Poland's military growth surging, we've got to ponder, is it just about catching up, or is there a grander strategy at play? Poland's current government, guided by the divisive Law and Justice (PiS) party, has been unwavering in its pursuit to modernize the Polish armed forces. Amid the tumult of Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, Poland promptly stepped up its long-term modernization plan. Remarkably, Poland has already been earmarking 2.2% of its GDP to defense and had plans for further escalation. This figure took a sharp upward turn when the country's president, Andrzej Duda, passed emergency legislation in response to the Russo-Ukraine war, hastening this timeline and boosting the spending objective. Consequently, defense spending was heightened to 3% of GDP starting from 2023, thereby positioning Poland among the top spenders in NATO. Yet, the country's ambition doesn't end here. Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki expressed his desire to raise defense spending even further, targeting 4% of GDP this year, in his bid to assure Poland's security and pave the way for extensive procurement programs for modern equipment. Indeed, Poland has been proactive with numerous procurement programs in recent years. To name a few, the Harpia program with a budget of $4.6 billion aims to acquire 32 fifth-generation fighter jets. The Narew program, valued at around $8 billion, is focused on securing a short-range air defense system to guard Poland's airspace. The Orca program, approximately costing $3 billion, aspires to acquire 3 new submarines equipped with cruise missiles. Last but not least, the Kruk program intends to acquire 32 new attack helicopters to replace the Soviet-era Mi-24 Hind helicopters. However, Poland's military growth and modernization aren't merely a tale of increased spending and procurement programs. It's also a narrative of strategic alliances, primarily with the US and South Korea, that have major impacts on the country's defense and military landscape. The alliance with the US provides Poland with security guarantees, military aid, and political backing. The establishment of the US Army Garrison Poland, USAGP, in 2023 marked the first permanent US Army garrison in the country, further cementing this alliance. Deputy Prime Minister Mariusz Blaszczak, who took part in the ceremony of the garrison's transformation, noted the historical significance of this move. Besides this, Poland has also been an active participant in various NATO missions and operations, which further underscores its dedication to collective defense. Meanwhile, the alliance with South Korea is centered on economic and technological cooperation. In 2021 to 2022 alone, Poland ordered from South Korea 1,000 K2 tanks, 600 K9 self-propelled howitzers, 48 Fa-15 light combat aircraft, and 4 nuclear reactors. Lastly, we must address the nationalistic streak coursing through Poland's political machinery today. This assertive nationalism, reminiscent of the enthusiasm seen in the late 1920s and early 1930s, is coloring Poland's contemporary narrative. While it isn't a perfect parallel, traces of this ideology manifest in Poland's current political maneuverings. The impact of this nationalism, coupled with Poland's ongoing militarization, holds profound consequences for the European Union's intricate dynamics. A fully armed Poland serves as a formidable deterrent against potential Russian incursions, forming a robust military front. This military might, however, carries with it the potential to resist common EU policies and foster measures some may view as illiberal. Countries like Poland, alongside Hungary, exemplify what critics often label as illiberal democracies. They occasionally adopt actions perceived to undermine the democratic values the EU cherishes. As such, a militarily potent Poland, reinforced by a nationalistic government, might not only challenge the established liberal democracies, but risk eroding the shared principles underpinning the EU. Despite the potential challenges, Poland's rising military power and strategic partnerships mark a new chapter in its defense and security policy, positioning the country as a key player in European security and beyond. The question posed at the start of this video, should we fear Poland's military buildup, is layered with nuance. The answer depends on where you sit in the geopolitical landscape. For NATO allies and countries in Eastern Europe, Poland's military buildup is an added bulwark against potential threats. For nations like Russia, it may be viewed as a threat. But for Poland itself, it is a necessary move towards securing its own sovereignty, while carving a more influential position on the global stage. This is Living History, signing out.